Hi everyone. Hello and welcome. How are you all doing? Okay, can you give me a yes or no if I am audible and visible and you can see me and hear me very quickly? Yes or no if I am audible and visible? Quick check. Also remember to hit like, share and subscribe so that of course we can get this show on the road. All right. Okay, let's get started. Here's your first passage. So passage number 1 talks about Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif on Monday said that had it not been for US President Donald Trump, the India Pakistan conflict would have escalated to a level that nobody would have lived to tell, suggesting the possibility of a nuclear war. Invited to speak by Trump at the Gaza Peace Summit in Sharm el Sheikh, Sharif made most of the opportunity and spoke for over 5 minutes. He was the only head of government apart from Trump and Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi to get a chance to speak. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif it's a repetition, showering praises on Trump, Sharif said, suffice it to say that had it not been for this gentleman who knows India and Pakistan are both nuclear powers, oops. Had he not intervened along with his wonderful team during those 4 days, the war could have escalated to a level who would have lived to tell what happened. Calling Trump a man of peace, the Pakistan premier had earlier in his speech said Pakistan had nominated President Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize for his outstanding, extraordinary contributions to first stop the war between India and Pakistan and then achieve a ceasefire along with his very wonderful team. Today, again, I would like to nominate this great president for the Nobel Peace Prize because I genuinely feel he's the most genuine and most wonderful candidate for the prize. At Sharm el Sheikh, India was represented by Minister of State for External Affairs Kirti Vardhan Singh. Sisi had invited Prime Minister Modi, but India decided to send Singh instead. Indications are that India wants to resolve the tariff issue before a Trump-Modi meeting. Referring to India, Trump said India is a great country with a very good friend of mine at the top. He's just done a fantastic job. I think Pakistan and India are going to live very nicely together, right? He said, turning to Sharif for a confirmation. Spotting a reluctant smile on Sharif, Trump said, that's not very nice, and went on to add, they're two very great leaders as far as I'm concerned. After the meeting, External Affairs Ministry spokesman Randir Jaiswal posted, India welcomes the signing of the landmark peace agreement and hopes that this will lead to lasting peace in the region. This is a reflection of India's long-standing commitment to dialogue and diplomacy. How wonderful, how beautiful. Okay, which of the following can most reasonably be inferred from the passage? That's the question. What would you most reasonably infer? Let's find out. Is it that Pakistan's praise of Trump was a strategic attempt to display goodwill and strengthen its diplomatic ties with the US? India's choice of delegate reflected cautious diplomacy aimed at avoiding overt personal engagement with the American administration. The US states successfully brokered a formal peace accord between India and Pakistan, ensuring long term regional stability. But was it formal? No. The Gaza Peace Summit mainly served as a forum dedicated to resolving South Asian political disputes. We don't know if that happened. India's choice of delegate reflected cautious diplomacy aimed at avoiding personal engagement. We don't know if that was true. So the best answer here is going to be option number A, that Pakistan was probably trying to display goodwill and strengthen its diplomatic ties with the US. All right, what is the main theme of the passage? That's question number 2. Let's take a moment and answer this one. Hi, Kartike. Very good. Let's take a look at the second question. Come on, everyone. The passage highlights how Pakistan publicly credited Donald Trump for mediating peace and preventing a potential nuclear escalation. The passage narrates India's cautious engagement at the international summit amid trade tensions with the US. The passage discusses the significance of American leadership in global conflict resolution through presidential diplomacy and international summits. The passage examines the diplomatic posturing of Pakistan, India, and United States during the Gaza Peace Summit. Which of these is the correct answer? Yes, to the correct answer is D. Very good. We are talking of how India, Pakistan, and US have postured, have acted out during the Gaza Peace Summit. Let's look at question number 3. Which of the following can most plausibly be inferred from the passage? India's selective participation reflected strategic caution in maintaining neutrality and amid competing global narratives of diplomatic credit. The Gaza Peace Summit primarily centered on Middle Eastern affairs rather than the South Asian conflict between India and Pakistan. Pakistan's effusive praise for Donald Trump was intended as performative diplomacy to secure goodwill and political favor internationally. And Trump's comment demonstrated a decisive strategic preference for Pakistan, sidelining India's diplomatic visibility at the global platform. Which of these is the valid correct answer? Hi, Chandralekha. Come on, question number 3. Let's do this. Okay, Karthikeya is saying A is the correct answer. Karthikeya, now we don't know if they were trying to maintain neutrality amid competing global narratives of diplomatic credit. We really don't know. The correct answer is that Pakistan praising Donald Trump was performative diplomacy. They're trying to say, we voted for you in the Nobel Peace Prize, help us. It's something like that. So therefore, the best answer is C. All right, question number 2. Which underlying assumption must hold true for the Pakistani Prime Minister's statement about Trump's intervention to be logically valid? So, which of these is true? American mediation exerted direct influence on both countries' decisions to de-escalate during the 4 days of heightened tension. India and Pakistan were already engaged in independent negotiations to prevent escalation. Well, this is false. India's reduced representation at the summit indirectly affirmed support for Washington's broader peacekeeping and mediation. But then, why is it indirectly affirming? Why not directly? So, not 3. The Gaza Peace Summit originally intended to address issues surrounding nuclear deterrence within South Asia's regional security. Well, this is again irrelevant for us. So, the best answer would be A, that America sort of influenced both the countries directly, and therefore both of them de-escalated, otherwise no. Okay. Let's look at the next question. Question number 5. What best describes the overall tone and narrative stance of the passage? Sarcastic and disapproving, analytical and balanced, laudatory and celebratory, detached and indifferent. Okay, question number 4, you guys have said A. Question number 5 is here. So let's see what your answer is. Come on, guys. Okay, Karthikeya says B. Sarcastic, so it is not sarcastic. It may be disapproving, but not sarcastic. It's laudatory and celebratory, no. So I'm eliminating A and C. Is it detached and indifferent? But the author does display his opinion, so not D also. So best, analytical and balanced in outlining the political theatrics and rhetorical maneuvering among the major actors at the global summit. So best answer will be B. Yes. Good, Karthikeya. Yes, Strangebone. Yes, Chandralekha. Very good. All right, question number 6. Which of the following would most strengthen the Pakistani Prime Minister's claim about intervention? That independent evidence revealed that both nations maintained identical military postures and avoided provocative actions throughout the crisis period. India's foreign ministry explicitly denied any American involvement in de-escalation, calling such assertions diplomatically exaggerated and baseless. Declassified US documents disclosed shuttle diplomacy between Delhi and Islamabad, conducted directly under Washington's strategic supervision. Reports indicated that the American intervention directly coincided with a measurable decline in the bilateral hostilities during those critical 4 days. If that is true, then Clearly, the answer should be D. Yes, very good, Karthike. Excellent. Excellent. Now that you say D, that is the correct answer. Absolutely. This would most strengthen the PM, Pakistani PM's claim. Yeah, it is supporting it. So, very good. None of the others will work. All right, let's look at passage number 2, guys. Okay, here you are. Yes, 6 is D. Absolutely, Chandralekha. Okay. For question number 6, yeah, I can go back to question number 6 for a moment. Okay, C says if there are declassified US documents which disclose shuttle diplomacy between Delhi and Islamabad, but did it have any response? See, the Pakistani Prime Minister's claim was that Trump has caused the hostilities to reduce. Now, just because they're sending mails does not really mean that the hostilities were reduced. For any hostility to be reduced, you would have to actually show that. And the fourth one actually shows that there is a measurable decline. Okay. So that's why. All right. You're welcome, beta. Let's do the next passage. Here's passage number 2. Lying in her Birmingham hospital bed in the weeks after she'd been shot in the head by a Taliban assassin, 15-year-old Malala Yousafzai used to imagine the conversation she would have with the Taliban leadership. If they would just sit down with me, I could reason with them and convince them to end their reign of misogyny. Misogyny means hatred of women and violence. She writes in her new memoir. Memoir means a book about her memories. Malala kept a notebook by her bed filled with rhetorical strategies. Rhetorical strategies means debates and discussions and talking points. Names of journalists who might be able to broker a meeting with the Taliban. The Quran verses she would cite means recite, to show that girls do have a right to education in Islam. The things she could say to establish her own credentials, identity as a God fearing Muslim. Of course, that conversation never happened. Much later, after the fall of Afghanistan in 2021, it made her wince. Wince means to sort of, you know, to recall her naive means very innocent belief that the Taliban would ever listen to her. What did happen is that little by little, Malala grew up. She's told her story before, most little notably in I Am Malala, which was co-written with Christina Lamb and published in 2013, the year before she won a Nobel Peace Prize. Finding My Way picks up the story of her life as she navigates young adulthood. In Birmingham, her secondary school classmates largely ignore her, but Malala studies hard and wins a place at Oxford, a dream come true. She joins the rowing team, signs up for a plethora means many clubs, and stays out late dancing with her roommates, all while keeping up with the international speaking engagements that pay her parents' mortgage. She has little time to do any reading, let alone turn in assignments on time. Her tutors send her increasingly stern letters. But she does find time to fall in love. Central to the book is the story of Malala's tender courtship with Asar, a handsome cricket executive from Lahore. When she develops a passing interest in astronomy, he buys her a telescope. When she tells a national magazine she's skeptical means doubtful about the institution of marriage, he gets on the phone with her irate means angry parents to back her up and talk them down. Malala takes a long time to conclude she's ready for marriage, but when she finally takes the plunge, it brings her profound happiness. Profound means very deep. Good for her. The clarity of Malala's childhood conviction means belief, that girls have an unassailable right. Unassailable means something that cannot be broken, to be educated, is what thrust her on the international stage. But it's also what, for a time, took away her ability to define herself. When she woke up from a coma after she was attacked, her face was half paralyzed. But even more disconcertingly means disturbingly, her real life identity as a mischievous classmate, mischievous is naughty, and annoying sister has been overwritten by the narrative of mythical heroine, virtuous and dutiful. Virtuous means good, full of good virtues. A serious and shy girl, a wallflower, forced to speak out when the Taliban took away her books. It was an impossible sainthood. She's been made into a saint. Meanwhile, an army of online trolls, people who hate her, found her every move reprehensibly un-Islamic, disgustingly. Finding My Way sees Malala wresting back the story of her own life, rejecting the constrictions and contradictions of a sheltered childhood and sudden fame. At Oxford, she gives her security guards the slip to climb the Lady Margaret Hall bell tower. She celebrates Galentine's Day with her girlfriend. She finds a therapist to address her PTSD. She falls perilously means dangerously behind on her work, then slowly cultivates more studious habits. She even goes through a phase of constantly ordering TGI Friday ribs, not realizing their pork. Whoops, it's all an education. Wow, that's interesting. What a lovely article about Malala Yousafzai. Okay, the phrase an impossible sainthood in the passage most nearly implies that. Chalo. Malala's moral perfection inspired millions around the world. Her fame made it difficult for her to live up to her own ideals. She became an unwilling participant in global activism. Or idealized image created for her was unrealistic and restrictive. Come on. What's your correct answer? Impossible sainthood means something that is impossible. It is unrealistic to believe somebody like her would be something like a saint. So the idealized image created for her was unrealistic and restrictive. That's your answer. Okay, which of the following best captures the tone of the author towards Malala's evolution in Finding My Way? Is it satirical and detached? Is it admiring yet humanizing? Is it critical and skeptical? Is it reverential and worshipful? Is the author reverential? Reverential means revering, idolizing, treating like God. So not D clearly, and not critical and skeptical also, because they don't doubt Malala. So is it satirical and detached? But it's not detached, so eliminate. Is it admiring yet humanizing? Yes, we are treating Malala as a young girl. So therefore, yes, B. All right, let's look at the next question. What does Malala's act of climbing the Lady Margaret Hall bell tower symbolize within the context of the passage? Is it a reckless defiance of authority? Is it her struggle with academic pressure? Is it a symbolic act of freedom and self assertion? Or is it nostalgia for her earlier activism? Well, this is probably not nostalgia for her earlier activism, so I can eliminate D. Is it a reckless defiance? It could be. Is it her struggle with academic pressure? I'm eliminating that. Is it a symbolic act of freedom and self expression? Yes, I think between A and C, C is a better choice than A because we don't know if it is actually a defiance of authority. I mean, there may not have been a rule which says you cannot climb Lady Margaret Hall bell tower, right? So is it a reckless defiance? I don't know. A symbolic act of freedom and self assertion, I can do it, so I will, yes. Question number 4. The author's description of Malala's ordering TGI Friday ribs, not realizing their pork, primarily serves to highlight her innocence and capacity for humor and self reflection, reinforce her estrangement from her, so she has moved away from her cultural roots? No. Demonstrate her rebellion against Islamic dietary, but she hasn't done that. It says not realizing. Suggests her ignorance of global culture, but doesn't. So it highlights her innocence and capacity for humor and self reflection. So she laughs about it because, yes, it is silly and that she has made a mistake. Question number 5. Here's your question number 5. Which of the following best explains the contrast drawn between mythical heroine and mischievous classmate? Okay. It shows her inner conflict between activism and faith. It illustrates the gap between her public image and her personal reality. It contrasts her intellectual life with her emotional life. Is it her intellectual and emotional life? No, I'll eliminate C. It highlights her detachment from ordinary adolescence, but it doesn't. So between A and B, probably B is a better choice than A because again, it's not about activism and faith. Okay, so probably B. Okay, question number 6, here you go. In the context of the line, it's all in education. What broader meaning of education does the author imply? What education are we talking about in the context of Malala? Is it formal learning that ensures academic excellence and discipline? Is it theoretical knowledge that refines one's intellectual understanding? Is it life experiences that teach growth, self awareness, and maturity? Or is it the structured process of obtaining degrees from prestigious institutions? What education are we talking of? All the things that she's learning. So, of course, it is clearly C, that is the correct answer. Very good, you guys. Life experiences that teach Malala all of these wonderful things: growth, self awareness, maturity, and all of that. So, correct answer will be option number C. All right, guys, your fast track to success, your NLU batch at 15,000 only. The CLAT 2026 sprint is on. It's a English batch, and English batch is also available with Siddharth Mehta, Manoj Davrani, and Priyanka Singh, who are mentors of AIR 1, 3, and 8 in CLAT 25. 5 concept classes, batches already started. You can enroll right away. CLAT Sprint 26 is on. We are doing 5 high impact classes per week, daily GK Power Hour, and 44 full length mocks. You can enroll right away. The test series for CLAT 2026 is closest to the actual exam pattern. It features 48 All India mocks, video solutions of select mocks, and in depth performance analysis. Enroll right away, guys. For any inquiries, you can connect on this number 8130-038-836. Okay, the CLAT 26 subjective session planner is here. We've already released a 90-day plan in the beginning of September, but you have this. So the day is Monday, 5:30 p.m. We are doing legal aptitude. Tuesdays, 5:30 p.m. We're doing quantitative aptitude. Thursday, 5:30 p.m. English language. That's with me. And Friday, 5:30 p.m. logical reasoning. So here are all the sessions. 5:30 p.m. is the time. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Do join in, guys. This is so helpful, right? We are doing all of these wonderful sessions to help you guys. So please join in. Any questions you have, please feel free to ask me or drop it in the chat box. I will answer as and when I get it. Thank you so much, guys. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Remember to hit like, share, and subscribe, please. Thank you so much. Bye bye.